Oh, okay. And then I'm going to adjust my screen. All right. Let's get this let's get this started. I'm so excited about this conversation because I'm finding myself lately struggling with accountability, and I know I'm not alone. So, the more we talk about it, the more we can uh, just brainstorm ideas and dig deep and understand where those struggles are coming from and how accountability can help us um, forward our goals the better, I think, for all of us. And, to everybody's earlier point, um, somebody will need this, whether it's right now or later down the road. And that's why we record these things. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for joining us in this panel discussion where we will be talking about accountability. When I looked it up in the dictionary, the definition of the word accountability is being answerable for one's actions. And so thinking through it a little bit more and reading through several things, and I came across this dissertation that was really interesting. I was reading until o'clock last night. Um, accountability can be internal, meaning you can be answerable to oneself, such as self-discipline, or it can be external, meaning being answerable to someone else, such as your manager at your workplace, or your partner, or your coach. Now, traditionally, focusing on external accountability, because we know what self-discipline means. I'm sure there's more we can dig deep into that, but at the same time, I do want to focus on external accountability because this is where I feel like I could use the most help and it could be most effective. So external accountability has traditionally where been a practice where individuals are held responsible for and even punished for their actions after the actions have been deemed unsatisfactory. The driving force of this practice, undoubtedly, everyone is aware, is fear and shame. Fear and shame is such a normal thing for us to feel, especially when it's externally induced. But what if we were to look at a positive and proactive approach to external accountability to help us achieve our goals? What if there's a way to leverage a practice of accountability where inspiration and desire is the driving force rather than fear and shame? This is called, from my research, this is called constructive accountability or social accountability. Today, we will be talking about why and how constructive or social accountability is effective as a way for us to support each other to forward our goals and make our habits stick. So, I want to first introduce our panelists before we begin our discussion. And I'll start with our career and leadership coach. Lori is passionate about empowering next gen professionals to develop leadership readiness and navigate generational workforce transitions for confident, successful career growth. She leverages 30 plus years of leadership experience to help her clients confidently step into leadership roles during the baby boomer exodus and secure their career growth. Through tailored coaching and strategic guidance, she is dedicated to shaping the leaders of tomorrow. Lori, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our next panelist is Joan. I've known Joan for so many years. Love you, Joan. You have coached me through some things, and some of those things have stuck. Just kind of give you a quick update. So Joan is a dynamic speaker, certified ICF coach, and former corporate senior executive specializing in leadership, change management, and transformation, drawing from her experiences in corporate leadership and coaching. Joan empowers individuals and organizations to navigate life and work transitions with clarity, resilience, and purpose. She blends practical strategies with deep insight to guide others through moments of uncertainty into aligned, confident action. Welcome, Joan, and thank you too for joining us today as a panelist.
Thanks, Charlotte. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So just a little bit of housekeeping for, well, I guess we don't have anybody here, so I don't have to talk about questions. But for those of you who are watching the replay, please put your questions into the comments. We're all here listening. We're all here ready to answer those questions. But also, I was going to say as part of my talk track here is we are recording this, and the replay will be uploaded into this event posting in the community. So if anybody would like to revisit this, we'll have that recording on there in perpetuity. Okay, so I want to start by asking our coaches, why do some people struggle to stick with new habits even when they start out strong and motivated? And how does accountability change that?
I'm happy to pick that one up if you're okay with that, Laurie.
Yep.
Okay. You mentioned something about internal and external when
Yes.
it comes to motivators beforehand. And I found that to be actually be one of the keys right now. Is if you're extrinsically motivated and that extrinsic motivation seems to go away, that makes it harder for you to continue when it comes to reaching your goals.
Mm-hmm.
If you're more intrinsically motivated, that actually keeps you better able to have consistency in the long run. So a combination of the two is ideal. And then another thing is making a firm decision about the goal that you're going after and actually going after it instead of wavering. If you're not making a firm decision and you're really making action towards it on a consistent basis, are you even going to achieve a goal? So those are some considerations.
That's a great point. I never thought of that, in evaluating like what kind of person you are, where's your personality, whether you're intrinsically motivated or if you're extrinsically motivated. How would somebody figure out where their intrinsic versus extrinsic levels are, for lack of a better description?
I can give you an example from a client of mine.
Okay.
And it's a current client of mine, and it's a great story. He wants to get into shape. He wants to work out because, as he puts it, he doesn't want to be that skinny old man, that's just kind of not able to do the things that he wants to do. However, he hasn't been self-motivated to work out at all. He's tried and he's joined a gym, but he doesn't seem to be able to do it.
Mm.
Well, he starts seeing a lady who is very, very healthy, likes to go hiking and do outdoorsy things. What is he doing? He's immediately walking 2.5 miles a day, and he's
Whoa.
getting into shape. And as he puts it, the only way that he can actually seem to be motivated is when his backup is against the wall. That's an extrinsic motivator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Now,
look.
what I'm doing with him in our coaching is
Mhm.
putting it into more of an intrinsic motivation. We're shifting him from extrinsic to intrinsic by bringing things in, like suggesting, okay, how's your sleep? Is it getting better? How's your stress levels? Are they getting better? How's your body? Are you actually taking notes on, your weight and your energy levels and things like that? So that way, as he's seeing the benefits of his exercise, he starts becoming proud of it, and that turns into an intrinsic motivation.
Oh, so we can adjust our intrinsic versus extrinsic levels.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Interesting. Lori, in your experience, why do people struggle to stick with new habits, and how does accountability change that?
Yeah. So with accountability, I mean, we'll talk, discipline, right? A lot of that hinges on discipline. And I love Joan's analogy of extrinsic and internal and external beings there. And I think once you're in, the external is wonderful because it gets you moving. And as Joan had mentioned, but it really has to manifest within yourself. and bringing that to light. That's the way it becomes sustainable and long term. And so I'm kind of a stats person. So, according to the study of the American Society of Training and Development, people are 65% more likely to meet a goal after committing to another person, so an accountability partner. And then that chance of success increases, to 95% when they're set up with that regular accountability meetings, not even the partner, but the meetings. And, when you're talking about career and you're talking about leadership, many leaders start out with a lot of enthusiasm. They just do. They're ready to go. They've got this vision, they're ready to go, but they often lack that structure. And so life distractions, unclear values, shifting priorities, it makes it hard for them to continue to sustain that momentum. But if you combine that with a lack of training, it can quickly become overwhelming. And then that's when they start experiencing that burnout as well. And so they're very quick to fizzle. So how do you do that, and sustain that vision and that enthusiasm? It's, intentional checkpoints, get that accountability partner that's going to challenge you a little bit, of course, but it's just being intentional, and you need to be able to reinforce their why, and then aligning their behaviors a lot. This all has to hinge on behaviors, right? With their long-term career goals. And then those habits should tie to their identity and not just the outcome. So it's not about control so much as it is about a connection to your future self, but identifying where you are now.
So as I'm interpreting it in my brain, I'm taking that to mean, at least in some ways, a passion and a purpose for what you're doing, and you have to care about what you're doing.
Absolutely. If you don't have that fire inside, how sustainable are you going to be in the long term? You'll have a short fire, a short wick, but it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And lives change, things change. And if we're talking about sustainable, it doesn't have to be forever. It
You're
can be for
exactly
as
right.
long as you care about it.
Yep. We change. Our
Yeah.
values change. Everything changes. If we're the same person that we were 30 years ago, we haven't grown, we haven't developed. And so
Mhm.
I think it's important that people understand you're going to transition and be open to that transition, because that's the only way that you are going to grow and develop into what you want.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me to think about the next question that I was considering or thinking about here is in what ways does a person's mindset impact their ability to hold themselves accountable or receive accountability from others? We already talked about intention, checkpoints. We talked about accountability partners and helping us with that mindset and caring about it. Are there some other things that we need to be thinking about with that mindset?
Yeah, Joan, you want me to go ahead and continue? And okay, so your mindset determines whether your accountability kind of feels like support or surveillance, right? So
Mm.
is it supporting you, or is it just something that you're doing? So with the next gen of professionals who view accountability as collaborative, not punishment, they're more receptive. And that's where that growth mindedness comes in. And you have to see it as feedback and not failure. And I think a lot of times what happens, and when I'm coaching individuals, they look at it as failure. And you mentioned this in your opening statement, Charlotte, that it's shame,
Mhm.
it's fear. They think they should have it all figured out. And there's that ego with that, right? So if they can let that go and shift their mindset into that growth and just being intentional and learning, they're going to they're going to grow. And knowing that there is no judgment in that, that's the step there. And you have to change that mindset. You have to talk to yourself every morning and say, you know what do I want? You know, what is it that I want? Is this the path I want? I have to check my ego. You know,
Mm,
it's not, I can't fear this. There's no room for that. So then how do you let go of that fear?
yeah.
I love that because that leads right into where I'm going to go with it, which is faith over fear. And this is having faith that by taking action, you are actually going towards the goal that you've set for yourself. When it comes to mindset, as Lori just said perfectly, everything's a data point.
Mhm.
It's sure you're scared. Look, first of all, you have to make a decision in order to do it. Are you going to actually do the thing? And if you have somebody holding you accountability that is in a place of power, well, you don't really have much choice sometimes. If you have people who are holding you accountable who are friends or family, or you have other means such as online or whatever, then you're the one who's determining whether this is something that is worthwhile to you. And
Mhm.
then sometimes you're going to have to do scary things. For example, us as coaches and putting ourselves out here like we are right now in this video and choosing visibility over fear. That's a challenge right there. And you have the choice. Am I going to be visible? Am I going to actually share my knowledge with other people, or am I going to hide and just keep it all to myself? Or are you actually going to take that baby step towards the thing that you want to do? And the more you go for something, the more it accumulates. The more you actually have that consistency in place, the better it is. Thinking about Atomic Habits, for example, James Clear's book, which I swear to God, I recommend to at least one person every week.
Mhm.
Um, there's the 1%, you know, if you do 1% better every day between where you are now versus where you're going to be in a year is outrageously different.
Yeah.
Going back to future self and identity, who do you want to become?
Yeah. Yeah. We can design our lives and work towards it and not expect it to happen overnight. And you both,
Sometimes we don't even know the path. And
yeah.
a lot of times we don't. We get stuck on the how as opposed to the why you're doing this, what's your why, and the
Yeah.
direction that you're going in. Sometimes when you're going in one direction, there's detours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, and
So
not to side rail that, but Joan picked up on something that I was gonna speak to was, and she did a little bit, was, you know, habit research from James Clear. So we're on the same path there. You know, it shows those small, you know, that research is small, consistent actions paired with reflection, and that leads to that long-term identity change. So it's funny that Joan mentioned that because
it's not funny. This is gold
I
standard right
I
now,
had that right
basically.
there with you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is gold standard right now. And anyone who is watching this, pick it up. Audiobook, book, go to his website, whatever. And if you want to learn habits and how to make them work for you, he's pretty much the guy right now.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, that reminds me. When I first came across that book several years ago, I was so just blown away at how much we hold ourselves back expecting something bigger. And when that 1% really does accumulate to get you where you want to go and to get you to discover, like you said, sometimes we don't know the path. We can discover where those detours need to be along the way to get to what we want, because what we want isn't something that's clearly defined. We want a feeling, and that
Mhm.
feeling we think looks like this, and we think the path looks like this, a certain way. But as you discover along the way, oh, I need to go take this little detour. But you
Yeah,
both
I think,
mentioned,
yeah, I think
go,
that's where most people get stuck is the how
yes, yeah,
along the way. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
where you want to be and where you are now. Okay, how do you get there? And how you get
Okay.
there is by taking one small step every day. Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
So in that spirit of the how as well, you both talked about like fear and judgment and see it as feedback and not failure. That's a very vulnerable thing to do. And we could have the right audience and we could have the wrong audience for that. That it can be detrimental depending on if you're on the wrong audience for sharing that vulnerability, or the right audience that can help you just overcome them, to bear it and to learn from it. How do we choose a friend or family, or how do we choose the right accountability partner and the right partner to share those vulnerabilities with?
You need to find somebody and you have shared values about what you see this partnership being. And share with them what you want to accomplish and see if it's something that they're willing to work with you on.
Mm.
A lot of this is vulnerability, because we're asking people to look into our deepest, darkest desires.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you desire, that generally means that it's something that's for you in some way, shape, or form. So finding somebody who's going to support you and cheer you along the path and maybe share theirs with you as well, because that reciprocal actually helps you feel like you're accomplishing something working with them, and for them to feel like they're accomplishing something working with you. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Some people aren't going to be right for you, and that's okay, because you're not right for everyone either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes, having that external accountability that's not, closely associated with you, that allows you that comfort to be yourself without the judgment piece. There's benefits to having an accountability partner that's, family or a friend. The benefits of that could be, emotional safety, um, availability, but those drawbacks too can be injuries, less rigor, potential avoidance, hard trade, cancellations, all of those things. So I always go for get an accountability partner that, yes, as Joan said, that aligns with your values and everything, so you don't have that conflict there. But get someone who's going to really hold you accountable, and you need to ask the questions, this is what I need from you. Is that individual going to be able to give that to you? Is that family member going to be able to give that to you? Is that friend going to be able to be that, or are they going to be a crutch for you? Because maybe they're not comfortable giving you the hard truths either. So you really have to, there's a very fine line there. For instance, I'm a coach, but I'm a mom. Okay. So I ask my daughter, when she says something to me and she's got her goals and she wants accountability, and I ask, did you do this? You know what happens? She gets mad at me. So why are you asking, and so that I know that she's not there, right? She didn't do it. I didn't say anything, but she knows that it's like, I know I didn't do it. So she's finding a way to kind of aggressively get at me. So when I talk with her and about her goals, I say, do you want the coach mom, or do you want the mom that's going to give you the feels and it's okay, you can do it next, what do you want from me in this moment? And I think that that's really important to build that structure if you're going to have a coach that, or accountability partner that's close to you. Have a very deep conversation about, I'm doing this because I need you. I don't recommend a partner, an accountability partner that's struggling with the same thing that you're struggling with. So, for instance, health is probably the easy target here, unfortunately. But hey, I need to get my health, or I need to get on an exercise program. So and so, they need to get on the same regimen. They need to get on an exercise program, want to lose weight, blah blah. Well, if they're struggling with it and I'm struggling with it, what are the chances of success there? Really?
Yeah.
So I always push, and I always will push for someone who's going to give you the hard, I need someone who I can say, look at that person. They've obviously got good habits. I need that. That's who I need to be accountable to. I don't want to be accountable to someone who's struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. And a lot of people do that because they're thinking, oh, we're going to hold each other up and we're going to do this. You know how long that lasts in all reality?
Mm.
Not very long.
I could see that. Like I could see where I might say, I don't feel like it today. What about you? Yeah, me neither. Okay, let's not go today. Let's go have some coffee or something.
And the other person's going, shoo, they
Yeah.
canceled.
Oh, that's so funny. So, so it makes me think about um if we if it's a partnership and we're meant to help each other, as opposed to say, I'm going to call this somebody who's not struggling with the same thing that I am. I'm going to call it, like, say they're mentoring me if I can reach the idea that far. How do I then become a good accountability partner for somebody who I want to lean on because they have what I want? Um, where am I going with this question? As opposed to, like, like, what do I have to offer them? How do I make myself a good accountability partner for others?
Joan, do you want to go ahead?
My brain is still whirring on this one. How do you make yourself a good accountability partner for others? By asking questions and being interested in what they're trying to do. I mean, sometimes what somebody wants to accomplish could be boring to me, but if you get curious about what the other person's doing and why they're doing it and what their motivators are, then you can learn how to be of support to them, especially by asking questions. I've hosted accountability groups before, and one of the things that I always use in the accountability groups are questions like, what are you working on? How's that going for you? What's one thing that you'd like to do next? What's something I can help you with?
Mm,
And what are you looking forward to this next between our time and sessions, for example?
mm,
But even asking deeper questions about, okay, well, how are you going to do that thing? Or what's driving you behind it?
mhm,
Being curious and interested in your accountability partner and not just with them because they are holding you up or cheering you on, but
mhm.
getting deeper with it is how you can be a good accountability partner, I believe. Lori?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said. I think it's important that, you don't ask, did you do it? It's really about those questions, what worked, what didn't work, what will you change? Hold space for that person without judgment. Um, be consistent. But most importantly, probably just reflect back to their goals and values so they stay connected to their purpose and not the pressure. So I definitely, it's in the questions and how you do it, but I would definitely stay away from did you do it? What I would definitely ask, what went well, what worked for you, what will you change? What did you learn from this? But always kind of circle back to their goals and their values, so that they stay on track and understand what their purpose is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
another
no
question.
judgment, no judgment. I
No
love that.
judgment, no
Absolutely
wrong.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question that came to mind as you guys were throwing out those questions is, why is this important to you? So if I
Mhm.
understand why this goal of yours is important to you, I can get bought into it in such a way that I can help you drive towards that importance. I can understand you and what you want. Um, a lot of these questions that you've asked, we're all trained coaches here. A lot of these questions that you asked are all questions that we all learned in our coach training. And so it kind of leads me to suggest to our audience, consider a coach as an accountability partner, because we know how to keep your goal uh, intact and not get it all mushy with other things, and hold space for that. So I really think Yeah, I really think that's something that unfortunately not enough people, in my experience anyway, are aware of the value of a coach, a life and leadership coach to be that accountability partner. So uh, when I think about a coach being as an accountability partner, what makes a coach an effective accountability partner without becoming a crutch or a disciplinarian? Yes, we can ask those questions to dig deep and hold the space, but how do we keep our clients um, from from using a coach as an accountability partner in a manner that's like a crutch or somebody who's disciplinarian? I think Gloria, you already kind of said it. Avoid saying, "Did you do it?" That's one thing. Uh, does anything else come to mind as far as like, have you had experience where a client has used your services as a crutch or a disciplinarian?
Yeah, I think a lot of times with accountability, most of them do come to you that way. You
Yeah.
know, and that's why they're coming to coaches to because they realize and they see that there's something there that they need to fix or get past, you know. And I will say this, as a coach, I'm always very clear that, you know, the best analogy I can give is that I provide scaffolding. Okay. I'm not hand holding. Okay. I support autonomy by co-creating plans and checkpoints, but the client is the one who's driving the car. And that's the only way that it's sustainable. And we've talked about that, right? The, you have to have the will to do it. So my job is to challenge, you know, in a lovingly mirror blind spots and celebrate the wins without becoming that sole motivator. And I will say that, you know, ICF put out a report or a study that found that 80% of the clients improved self-confidence and 70% improved work performance through coaching. And accountability was one of those key drivers. So
Mm,
of sustainability. So it's important. We are not going to, if you use a family, if you use a friend, we talked about those kind of snags sometimes that you can come up against. A coach is there to provide you insight without giving you the, without saying what it is that's holding you back. But we're going to uncover it for you and you're going to move forward. You're in the driver's seat. We're just
mm,
helping you navigate just a little bit. We're in the seat next to you. So we're going to tell you, okay, you're about to crash, you know, or something like that. But we do it in a way that it gives you the power to make the changes because that's the only way it's sustainable.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with all of that. And I love that Lori came with the stats today because I did not prep with stats today at all. So thank you for doing the Lord's work today with the stats. My goal in coaching, and this is going to probably be a little bit different than other coaches. Some coaches want to have long-term relationships with their clients. I want my clients to move on by themselves very quickly because I'm here to give you the tools so that way you can bring them into your life and you can continue succeeding. You're already successful if you're able to hire me, just to say it bluntly. Let's keep that win streak going. That doesn't mean I don't keep in touch with them. That doesn't mean I provide other services to help them stay accountable as they move on. But sometimes there's other things that also make it so that people tend to stick around a little bit longer. And sometimes that's things that wind up getting uncovered during the coaching process, such as addictions, for example. Because I've seen that when you do have clients who come to you looking for support and accountability because they aren't able to accomplish a goal, sometimes there's things that are deeper that they're
mm,
very, very much stuck in.
mhm,
And in that case, that's referral to a therapist.
mhm.
I had this happen with a client not too long ago who did become quite dependent on me when it came down to accountability. And it turned out that there was a problem hiding right in plain sight that she didn't see that I uncovered. And once it was uncovered, she was very unhappy that it was uncovered because there was an addiction issue.
Mm.
So sometimes the scaffolding that you build for somebody to bring themselves up, if it's something that they aren't willing to see themselves, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
If there are deeper issues that are happening, that's when referral to a therapist needs to happen. We are not therapists. We can just say what we're seeing and we can remark on it, and then we can make suggestions. Or we can help them uncover the issue as well. And she was well aware of what it was. She just refused to admit to it. So sometimes it's not as easy as, okay, take small steps, do increments, because there's this great goal that you have that you're going to go after and you're going to get it. There might be other things that are holding you back that you don't see. And that's where having a good coach who's helping you with it can help you uncover deeper issues.
Yeah, wow. That reminds me of the conversation we had earlier where we were talking about mindset, um and that's another one. Aside from checking our egos at the door, and maybe it's part of checking our egos at the door, be ready to admit to some of those deeper issues that might be part of what's holding us back. I love that everything kind of comes back to the power of having a non-judgment kind of setting with a partner. If you have somebody who is a friend or a life partner, it's inevitable whether they're judging or not. There's always a sense of judgment, whether it's, internally or externally applied to us. But a coach has no stake in the game of you as a person. So there is no judgment. I love that we're highlighting that right now.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add in, if you have an ICF trained coach, we are taught how to be involved but detached. It's called detached involvement. It's actually a thing. So it's very, very beneficial for clients to have that because there isn't judgment. We aren't going to nag you.
Yeah.
We aren't going to say, oh, this is a stupid idea. This is your drive. As Lori said, you're driving the car. We're passengers. You're running the show. I'm just here to walk alongside you on your path.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. So as your clients come and go, if the goal is, hey, I'm giving you the tools to take it on your own and succeed in whatever it is you're doing at some point, life has its ups and downs. So life will get busy, motivation dips. What can we do to keep ourselves from being derailed or to get ourselves back on track in those situations?
Lori, you want this one?
Yeah, sure. So first I'd say normalize the dip because it's going to happen. We think that, oh, I just got to keep this motivation or I just got to keep reaching or guess what? You're going to come across some challenges and some obstacles. So normalize that dip. It's going to get messy sometimes. We can't control everything. And so I coach clients to build a resilience, to reset routines that includes reviewing their values. Reconnecting with their why is always that trigger that brings them right back to that motivation is why am I doing this? And taking, one, as I think Joan said, is taking that one micro action to restart that momentum. So it's progress over perfection wins and celebrate. I tell my clients, celebrate every little win. You don't need to be a locomotive train that's starting out and you're just going to, the Euro train, if anyone's ever been on that, We
Yeah.
all love to have that, right? The destination, I get on this and I am straight to my destination very quickly. Well, guess what? You might miss some things along the way because you could take some stops along the way, grow a little bit along the way, but those small micro movements are sustainable, and that's what's going to keep you in the long term. If you get a little bit of a rally and you can take that Euro train, that bullet train to something, that's great. Take it. But don't set aside those opportunities to learn and grow and just take those small steps to build that sustainable, goal that you're trying to achieve.
100%. Wow. And this takes me like two different directions because we haven't talked about central nervous system yet.
Mm.
So, especially with what you were just talking about with the bullet train, one of the reasons why we like to take those small micro steps is because it doesn't overwhelm your central nervous system. Your brain doesn't get hijacked by your stress or your adrenaline while you're taking these small ones. It's kind of like you're tricking your brain a little bit. But when you take the bullet train sometimes and you get to where you want to go really fast, then your brain and your body goes, oh my God, what the hell just happened? And that's when you tend to take that dip.
Yeah.
And like
Oh.
Lori said, normalize the dip 100%. With my coaching, what I tell clients is what we're looking for is recuperation skills. What we want is for you to bounce back quicker when you do have that dip. Dips are absolutely 100% to be expected. You are normal if you have these dips. If you don't have these dips, I am very, very jealous of you because this is totally normal. But sitting around on the couch, eating Haagen-Dazs for a day versus deciding that you're going to raid C's Candy and bring in all the boxes and sit there for a week just covered in chocolate are two different things.
Mhm.
We want you to keep the dips low and to be able to bounce back. And that's one of the reasons why normalizing small micro or smaller baby steps is really, really helpful along your path because those add up. Once again, going back to James Clear with that 1% better every single day. Boom. You get there. It takes a little longer in the short run, but in the long run, you're going to thank yourself for it.
Thank you all for this. I feel like this in my trajectory, in my own personal trajectory, and in building up Inspire, Empower, Achieve, I've had those dips, and I would question, am I really doing the right thing? Is this really useful to anybody? This panel discussion is a good example of that. We're putting it out there. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, that's really important. That's really great," but then nobody shows up. Now, I don't mean to say that you guys are nobody, but you guys are like on board with us. We're all on the same page. We all have these same values, and to try to break into that external bubble of people who we just want to help them. All of us, or coaches here, and all of us just want to help people. That's what time and time again, that's what I hear from coaches.
I'm going to add one more thing. I want to normalize the void as well.
Mm.
And that's that period of time before something big happens when nothing happens at all and you feel like you're at a complete and utter standstill. Lori, are you with me on this?
Yes, 100%.
Me too.
I mean, and I'm just going to say it, these past couple of months, because of it being summer and with it being quiet and people being on vacation, it's been a lot quieter than normal. I've found that with the entrepreneurs that I work with as well. And normalize the void, because what this means is that you are in a quiet space and period where you're actually working on things and maybe systems, maybe your health, maybe something is going on in your life. And the comeback is greater than the setback, folks. That's all I have to say. It's just the void, and it's something that is to be worked through instead of panicked over.
So I have a question, Joan. Do you have a webcam inside my brain?
No, I've been going through it these past couple of months. And it's just me realizing, oh, wait, that's the void. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot going on in the world right now for people as well, where they're having their own version of whatever that void is right now. And I see people nodding their heads going, yeah.
Absolutely.
And we love that the continued stimuli, right? We think we've always got to be doing, going. And sometimes you have to embrace, set, reset, just like Joan was saying. It's a time to reflect.
Yep.
It's a time to prepare. You don't always have to be going a mile, 1,000 miles a minute, right? So take the time, enjoy your journey. And that's what I tell people. Life itself is a journey.
Mhm.
Enjoy it. Find the things that you enjoy in it. Don't overstimulate yourself.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moments in every season and every moment. It gives you time to regroup. It gives you time to reset. It gives you time to just be creative. And you don't have to be going all the time, because if you're going all the time, you're going to miss something along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I feel like you all are speaking to my heart. I feel like this isn't even a panel discussion for everyone. I feel like they're all coaching me. It's a
all of us.
personalized coaching.
It's all about you, Charlotte. It's all about you.
It takes an army.
Ugh, with this stubborn person, yes, it takes an army. As we're coming
Oh, it looks like Kimberly has a question.
Yeah, as we're coming to closer and closer to the end of our time together here, I do want to save some time for questions and whatnot. And I see that Kimberly does have a question. Kimberly, would you like to unmute yourself?
So I noticed that I'm more motivated when I get the results I wanted.
Mhm.
And the dip that you're talking about comes from I didn't get the result that I wanted. It's kind of like it feels deflated. And when I'm deflated, I'm not expansive. So what could I say to myself to bounce back? All right, didn't turn out the way I wanted to, and then I say this so I can get my second wind.
I'm going to pass it over to Lori after I just say, look to your why and why you're doing what you're doing, because that is your anchor and that is your inspiration, because it wouldn't be your why if it didn't inspire you. Lori, over to you.
How did it look how did it look compared to how you envisioned? Did it come out better, or did it just not come out the way you envisioned?
A letdown.
It was a letdown.
A letdown. Yeah.
Okay.
So, financial goals or the number of people that show up goals, things like that, like a target, and then you miss the target and it feels like such a letdown. And of course, the conversation is, what am I doing and why am I doing this? There's so much energy around it and I'm not getting the results I thought I would. And I hear people say, well, it's don't give up, consistent. Sometimes it takes 3 times to do it before it catches on, be patient, all of these things that I hear. And I'd like to kind of wrap it up into like one verbiage or one thought that could keep me more motivated after the big letdown.
So what did you learn from the letdown? Did you have any takeaways about what you learned through that process?
Unfortunately, the little voice tells me what I did wrong. And it's pretty deflating. Like I shouldn't have done that, or it was wrong, as opposed to what I would like that voice to say, okay, what did work? But I normally don't go there. That voice is a little bit more quiet than the one that's telling me, what I didn't, like, oh, that was so stupid. And why did you do that? That kind of stuff.
So how is another way you can look at it, as far as, because instead of defeat, how do you rise above it?
That's what I'm asking.
I can step in here for a second.
Yeah.
This is just an observation of something that I've done, because hell, I've crashed and burned a million times. And anyone who's trying to create something is going to crash and burn a million times, by the way. If you're not trying to do something, then you're not crashing and burning. If you're trying to do something, then you are. I have event reporting, for example, that these are all data points. And a failure is a data point just as much as a success is. So writing down what worked and what didn't work. And like what you were just saying, well, all I can think about is what didn't work. Thinking about what did work as well and putting it into perspective with how's that working with your why and with your goals? Did this at least help you achieve one of your goals or get closer to it? All of these are data points to take a look at and then adjust for the next time that you do it.
I think the key to Joan is get up, dust yourself off, do it again.
Always.
Get up, dust yourself off, do it again.
Unless you get to the point, because sometimes things are worth quitting.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that because while you're on a path to living the life that you desire, there's going to be, I call them side quests. It's kind of like when you're in a video game and there's like a secret room, and that secret room can either up level you or it's just something that's a useless side quest. Sometimes there's side quests that are useless and you can quit it. If it's something that's not supporting your why, if it's something that's causing you pain, if it's something that just continues to not work, even though you're throwing everything at it and you've taken those data points into consideration and it's just not working for you, walk away.
I also want to offer, because I've felt this with Inspire, Empower, Achieve multiple times where I'm like, oh, this isn't working. People, it's just lip service. People are saying, yeah, this is so important. It's so cool that you're doing this. And I invite them to come and join, and it's free. How it's free. Like, what's the stake? It's your time and your attention. If you're telling me that it's worth your time and attention based on what we're talking about, why aren't you coming to visit? Why aren't you signing up and commenting, or a simple like? We make everything as convenient as possible. But I've had those times where I go, this isn't working. I mean, am I doing, like, is it time to quit? I'll ask myself that. And the thing I want to offer here is sometimes when I ruminate and get deep into um, those it's such a letdown, it's such a letdown, I didn't get the results. I'll tap somebody, a trusted individual. Amy is my trusted individual in this space, where I would call her and I say, all right, here's how I'm feeling, here's what I'm feeling. And she would say, yeah, me too. I've invited so many people. Okay. So what worked, what didn't work? When we work on it together, it's a very different experience than if I just think through myself what worked and what didn't work, and what we can leverage. Um, what can we learn from this, and how do we want to bring that to the next thing that we want to try to refine this idea.
I think it's important too that you're not quick to give up. You know,
Mhm.
even, you know, Kimberly mentioned that it was something, not a series of somethings. It was something.
Mhm.
And same thing with you, Charlotte. We
Mhm.
want to, our natural thing is we want the quick result. We want the results that we imagined in our head, and we want it now.
Mhm.
And the key there, and that's where accountability comes in. You keep trying it. Try it a few times, then determine if you need to adjust something. You don't just give up and quit, because then what happens? You've got nothing, right? There's nothing. But your value is still there, your why is still there. And that's what Joan was saying. You know, go back to your why. Why are you doing this? So if you're helping, let me ask you this. If you're helping one person along the way, is it worth it? You know, so set your goal, because it's just, so many of us are going to bat and we're going to miss. We just are. And that's, a lot of that is not anything that we did. It's not in our control. We want to control everything. We want to control the outcome of what others are doing, and we can't. We can only control what we're doing and what we're providing. But then it's the other side of that. It's the partnership. It's the other individuals that we can't control what they do. That means that we consistently be consistent.
Mhm.
Allow that,
And I'm going to add, yeah, and
that
it builds
foundation.
resilience.
Yeah, allow that foundation. Allow it to grow. Allow it to grow organically. Keep doing what you're doing. You may have to shift. Maybe, you know, after a few times you shift some things like, you know, do I get the message out a month in advance? You know, do we start really advancing this? And I'm just giving that as an example. You know, there are some tweaks that you might be able to make along the way, but give yourself the grace and the space, everyone, for the growth.
I think my biggest takeaway with what you're saying is there is a level of expect the breakdowns,
Mhm.
Sure.
expect them. And so there's nothing wrong, because that's really the conversation. There's something wrong, right?
Mhm.
But there's nothing wrong when there is a breakdown. And to just do it 1% better the next time. So there's that 1% rule. So thank you for that.
Well, and the other thing I think about is this is our second panel discussion. Our first panel discussion, we had 3 attendees. And they weren't people that I said, hey, could you do me a favor and show up just so we have an attendee? They showed up. So I was really excited. Okay, 3 is our baseline. I hope to get 3 or more this time. That was my hope and expectation. And we got, we got ourselves, our coaches, which I love this conversation, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, as I dream forward, this is only the second one. And 12 months from now, we're going to have the 14th one because we're going to do this every month. A year from now, we're going to have the 14th one. And the people who attend there, if the numbers are higher, I'm going to dream forward. We have 4 12 months from now. And I could say, oh, yeah, we talked about accountability. Go check out the video. The replay is there. So the value is still there. And they can, I can reference them to this and they can catch up to us. They're the ones catching up to us. So I'm dreaming forward that we have a collection, a library of these. Oh, love
Would
it.
you like me to send over to you my event recap sheet so that way you can take down all of the things?
Yes,
Yeah, I'll send that
please.
over to you and Amy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
one of the first things I did when I started throwing events.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I know you're recording this in this part of the conversation. But the other thing is too, you know, do your market research too on this to make sure, you know, is it a time thing? Is it, you know, you've got people spread all over the country. So is it a time thing? Is it a day thing? Is it, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. You're building a foundation and you're
Mhm.
going to make adjustments along the way.
yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you all.
Wait, Kimberly, I think is trying to say
Here's
something.
another comment
Right.
too. The distinction of if I'm live, what am I going to get from it live versus if I'm just going to get content, I don't have to be live.
Mhm.
So in terms of if an attendee were to attend live, what would they get more than if they just listen to it later? So you think in terms of that, I think
Yes.
would change the difference between, oh, I'll just listen to the replay versus I better be there live.
Yes. Yeah. And again, as I dream forward, the more people go, oh, they're doing this every month. And look at all the great questions that Kimberly brought up into that accountability session that they had. I have some questions.
Right.
Then the desire to attend live will start to come. Also, if we're posting it somewhere where they have an opportunity to put comments, maybe they can ask their questions there. Maybe they can say, you know what, I really connected with Joan when she talked about this, that, and the other. I'm gonna go message her. I'm gonna seek her out. And so I don't think it's all for naught.
Yeah.
Charlotte, I would ask you,
Mhm.
what do you want your result to be of these webinars? What's your results that you're trying to achieve through this?
to to really, I want people to know that conversations like these are happening all the time, whether it's privately one-on-one with your coach or a panel discussion like this, and to make it possible for them to empower themselves with conversations like these. I learned so much about myself, about coaching, about the mindset that I want to put myself in, and some strategies and to forward my goals. And I want everyone else, whoever is on a trajectory of some sort of personal growth or some sort of goal seeking, I want them to be empowered in the same manner.
Do you only achieve that by having them live in the session?
Nope. Nope. That's why the replay is valuable. That's why the comments are valuable. Even in the replay, if like I said, anybody could come and say, I need to talk to Lori. She knows what's up. Or even if they say they're gonna have one in September, I wonder if Kimberly's gonna be there, because I know she's a relationship coach based on this other previous replay. Um, I wanna hear more. And if I can't afford it, at least I know I can go to these sessions going forward. They're doing them every month.
Yeah. So whether it's live or they're doing the recording, they're still getting the benefit
Yes.
of what you're producing.
Yes.
But what we're offering and what you're offering is for them to join and have a live conversation if they are dealing with one of these and they want a coaching session out of it.
Level it up by attending live.
Yeah.
And from there, level it up by reaching out.
Yeah. So don't feel bad because you're still getting the results. It's still
Yes.
it's still out there and you're still reaching them. Their picture may not just be on this screen.
Yeah, that's right.
So here's a thought, Charlotte, and you just mull it over, just a thought I had.
Mhm.
I know that you're taking the people who have joined and that they're founding members and you're promoting them this way.
Mhm.
I could imagine reaching out to a coach that you admire who's not a member yet
Mhm.
and invite that coach that you admire to come and do a conversation for your group.
Mhm.
And once they've done the conversation, you say, you need to be a member. Okay, because the people here saw you. And it's kind of a back way of getting people who are coaches you admire
Yep.
to talk to your members, and as a way to say, now become a member.
Yeah. We are aligned. I have a coach that I admire, um, who coached me as well. He was also from IPEC. Excuse me, he was supposed to be one of our panelists for September. Excuse me. Um, and he can't make it, so I got him down for October.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just did that, like, I don't know, a few days ago, and everything you're talking about, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do more of that. I gotta do more of that.
Well, you know me, I'm always the idea girl.
You are fantastic ideas. So, as I want to try to wrap this up, because I want to respect everybody's time. So I could talk forever with you guys. You guys are phenomenal. But I do want to take a moment to thank Joan and Lori for taking the time to chat with us as our panelists. Thank you, Kimberly, for joining us. I love your ideas. I love your questions. I love where your mind goes as we explore certain things. But I do want to at least give Lori and Joan a few minutes to just kind of talk about how people can reach out to them if they have any questions or if they were interested in working with you. Lori, do you want to start?
I can. You can reach me through Inspire, Empower, Achieve platform, or you can visit my website at 365horsepower.com, and that'll provide you strategies, and that'll provide you direct contact information as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Joan.
Hi, Joan Russell. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. Once again, you can also find me through the Inspire, Empower, Achieve platform or through my website at intuitivenorth.com or theleaplounge.com. The Leap Lounge is an in-person event that happens bi-weekly, helping support people in their leaps that they're taking in life. And it's also a podcast and soon to be upcoming online membership portal. So thank you so much again for having me. I appreciate it. And I love the conversations that we had today.
Oh, yeah. thank
Charlotte,
you.
do you want me to take another picture and put it in the chat so you can grab it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so everybody smile. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Of course, you need to put this with your whatever. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Joan, you mentioned that your Leap Lounge is an in-person thing. Where are you located?
We're located in San Diego, California, and probably in the next year or so expanding. So we'll see how that continues to go. We have a possibility for expansion in Orange County at this point.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. That's more accessible to me. I would love to come and join you on that. Thank you all. One last thing I want to mention is save the date. We already kind of mentioned it with the next panel discussion. We are doing these monthly. Right now we're targeting Thursday. We've scheduled Thursday, September 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And that panel discussion, the topic will be on visioning or visualizing as a way to effectively, another tool for reaching your goal. Thank you all.
And if you want to capture the pictures, there's 3 dots on the top of the chat box, and you can save the chat. So save the picture, Charlotte.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Amy
Good to see
already.
ya.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lori. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.